the ice block on their Pete. Everybody's 2 or less, so then we can play our Sisu, and it gets rid of everybody. Nani? I was playing around with this deck. This is cards from the new AZURITE C set that's dropping on November 15th. And it went crazy. I had 8 ink on turn 4. And I was just able to go crazy after that with the card draws and with this Maui half shark. This Maui half shark is the sauce. Being evasive, already great. This Chi-Hu ability, whenever this character challenges another character, you may return an action card from your discard to your hand. What cards are we returning? We're returning How Far I'll Go. We're returning the one that lets us ramp. We're returning this one that's new, the one that lets us ramp, called Sail the AZURITE Sea. It says this turn you may put an additional card from your hand into your inkwell face down, and you get to draw a card. It has to be an inkable card though, which is kind of a bummer, but not really, because you get to ramp with this, and it only costs 2, and you get to draw a card so it replaces itself. Pretty crazy. For this one, I went with Chicha. I think I like Chicha more than Tipo. So, like, if you mulligan your hand, maybe go for the Chicha. That's what I'm doing. This is my strategy. And I actually inked the Tipo, because Chicha and Fishbone Quill just had a little bit more synergy than Fishbone and Tipo for one turn. I was able to ink Tipo and have the Chicha do her thing and get the card draw. Chicha is important because it's only the second card you put into your inkwell. It doesn't happen on the 3rd card or the 4th card that you put in your inkwell. It's just the second card that you put into your inkwell. So something to keep in mind, you're only getting 1 extra card draw with her per turn cycle. This is Minnie Mouse. I haven't read, but she's in the deck for sure. Once during your turn, whenever a card is put in your inkwell, you may return a location card from your discard to your hand. What locations are we running? Tons of them. We're running 2 of them, McDuck Manor and RLS Legacy. Both of these get 2 lore, and both of these have crazy willpower. This is 8, and this is 9. The 9 willpower is nice. This deck, one of my favorites so far from AZURITE C, and we're playing it here together early on Inktable by going to Menu, Export, Inktable, Play on Inktable.
Things that we learned in this video, Chicha might be better than Tipo now. And maybe it's just this deck because it's got lots of different things that it's doing that traditional Sapphire Ruby stuff is doing. But I think Chicha is the sauce. Number 2, Fishbone is actually still so good. It's one of the best ramping cards, and it came out all the way in the first chapter, the very first set, and it's still the best ramping card we got. And number 3, Maui Half Shark is a valuable addition to Ruby Sapphire.
We're going against an aggro list, the purple steel aggro list that we played yesterday. We are going to mulligan kind of aggressively. I really like this Half Shark, but we need to mulligan these away, maybe also a popsicle, to be able to get our ramp going. This doesn't help us a lot, but the Tipo and Be Prepared is okay. We have the Wombo combos there. We will ink a Hideaway, and then we get to play our popsicle. That lets us draw a card, lets us get a little bit more options going on, and then we'll pass the turn. They already have one going. Hopefully we're not going to get smoked on the aggro side. They put down the Smee. They have lots of aggro ability going on, and we just have a Tipo to keep us going. We need to ink a card. Sadly, it looks like it's going to be the Tipo because we want to get up to the Shark. The Shark is just a little bit too good. Ink the Tipo, play the Tipo, and then Tipo gets to Be Prepared into our inkwell. We can then pass the turn. It's as easy as that. Hopefully we draw an inkable card next turn. If we don't, we got to ink our Shark, which is scary. They're already up at 3 lore, and then they go to the 4. And they play another Pascal. Do they banish the Broom? That's how they banished it and drew a card. Then they put down the Maleficent, this thing, Quest for 2. They have lots of lore on board. They can get 6 lore and go to 10 next turn. So we need to do something to get more. We don't have any inkable cards, but we need to ink. So sadly, it has to be the Shark that goes away. And then we can play, not card ability, then we can play How Far I'll Go. Lets us look at 2 cards. We get Fishbone, which we need. But Brawl also helps us out a lot too. But we need the Fishbone. That's our only way that we're going to get to this board clear before they win the game. Tipo isn't going to do his thing right now. We're okay. We're chilling. And then we will pass the turn. Next turn, we're going to be able to put down our Fishbone put down our ice blocks. Do you see what I'm saying with that? Chicha is kind of better than Tipo in this deck specifically. They quest, and we'll see if they do some more questing. This Tipo is going to take out the Maleficent on our next turn. They're up at 12. They can still play stuff. They're up at 12, so we need to shut it down. If we ink something, we can play stuff for 6. We need to get to the Sisu, so we will play our Fishbone. And we will card ability the Fishbone. Do the ice block. This could get us an inkable card too. That'd be nice. We can ink McDuck. So luckily next turn, hopefully we can use our Sisu and put it down and clear the board. So we will do our, we can play an ice block, or we can use that now. We will definitely play the ice block real quick. Where is it? Play ice block. We are going to use the ice block to give -1 to Maleficent. And then we will challenge the Maleficent, taking her out and taking no damage on her Tipo. We like those. And then we can also just play this just to see what's good. We can get any of the song cards. It says search your deck for a location, reveal that card to all players and put it into your hand. Then shuffle your deck. So we can get a McDuck Manor. So we have a guaranteed ink next turn, even if they somehow take out our Fishbone. Pretty good. Pretty good. Wombo combo-y. And then we'll pass the turn. They're up at 12, but we're okay. We're going to have the smoke every turn after this. They have Fire the Cannons. That takes out our Tipo. They put down a Pete. We can't play any actions next turn. And Pete will survive our Sisu shift unless we use our ice block, which we are definitely going to do. So it's going to be effectively an entire board wipe. We will ink the McDuck. And then card ability, the ice block on their Pete. Everybody's 2 or less, so then we can play our Sisu, and it gets rid of everybody. And then we can pass the turn. As easy as that. We have our Be Prepared in case they do those things. We have a McDuck, so we want to play McDuck. And then quest for 3. There it is. We're up at 3. They're at 16. And then we pass the turn. They play a Cusco. They're going to get to quest for 2. And now we're in a particular bad spot because they could top deck, what's it called? The thing. Gathering Knowledge and Wisdom. And then we'd be out no matter what. We get to play our Grandma Tala. We get a Brawl, which is perfect. And then we get to play the Brawl to take out the Cusco so they won't be getting that lore. And then we can challenge the Sisu into there. Taking it out sucks that we don't get our 3 lore, but that's okay. We got to make sure that they don't get the Gathering Knowledge or Wisdom card. And then we can pass the turn. Should have ice blocked that thing so I didn't take a damage because now Sisu's gone. Huge oversight. My fault. We get 2 from our location, and they're getting ever closer to top decking the Gathering Knowledge and Wisdom. We get to play our thing, and then we can quest Grandma Tala. That's 1 more lore. We're up at 8, and they're just 1 card away from their win con. We can move our Grandma Tala, and then we'll pass the turn. It's scary. Could it be? It's GOAT. Puts them to 19, and if we be prepared, we lose. That's just how it goes. Do we lose on our own turns, or do we let them do their thing? We can play Chicha. And then we can use the Fishbone to put Be Prepared in the Inkwell for no apparent reason. We can use Ice Block to give it -1, and then we can quest Grandma. That's it. We got up to 13 before they smoked us. But that's how it goes. We're going to do 1 more to see if we can do this. Did they just... Oh, they play a go. Cool. I was like, what just happened? That's crazy. I think aggro might be the hardest matchup, so that's what we're going against, and we're letting the second player go first. Just to give us some practice with that, we have Not a lot of great things that we want to keep. I think we want to aggressively mulligan everything except for this fishbone. I really think that that's the way. We might get taken on uninkables, but look at that. Literally a hand of all inkables. There's the Maleficent. Will we get a McDuck Manor? Do we ink McDuck Manor or do we ink Grandma? Whenever a card is put in your inkwell, gain 1 lore. I think we're going to ink McDuck, and then we get to play the best turn 1 in all of blue, the Popsicle. Draw a card. It's another Popsicle, and then we get to pass the turn. No rampant in sight until we get to Fishbone. Too bad, so sad. They quest for 2, and we have nothing to shut it down. They play down to Smee. They can get up to 6 next turn. There's an uninkable card. We can ink Maleficent Dragon. It's going to be a while before they're there, and then we can play our Popsicle. But would Vision of the Future be better to get something that can take out Maleficent? Popsicle it is. Popsicle lets us draw a card. It gets us how far I will go. And then we pass the turn. Turn 3 will be our Fishbone Quill. But by then, they're going to be up to incredible amounts of lore. There's 4. They play down the library. And there's 2 more. They're up at 6. They'll go to 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 next turn. We need to do other stuff. We can get rid of Vision of the Future. We can play our Fishbone just as we've planned. And then we can use the Fishbone Quill. Ramp us up a little bit. Do we get rid of Grandma Tala? I think so, because we need to hit the Sisu as soon as possible. The Sisu is going to be what gives us the win con. It looks like they quest for 2, up to 9. They play Gathering Knowledge and Wisdom, the one card that we hate to see. It gets them 2 lore for free. So good. They put both characters at the library. They're already at 13. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 they're going to go to next turn. And there's nothing to do about it. Yikes. Well, ink our McDuck. We play our Harem. We banish a Popsicle. Will we get 2 cards? We can use the Fishbone to ink how far I'll go. And then we can play this, which lets us ink an additional card. We can ink an additional card, which is sadly going to be the Half Shark because this is too valuable. No, it's going to be that. Yeah, there we go. And then we pass the turn. We'll see if they have another Gathering Knowledge and Wisdom. If they do, it's all ogre for us. They play Fire of the Cannons, does 2 damage to our Hiram. They quest their Maleficent. Quest their Mr. Smee. And play down a Pete so we can't play any actions next turn. Chat, how cooked are we? Can we get rid of Library and Pete? It doesn't look like it. Unless we get a Maui from the song. Even if we get a Maui, it'd only do 6. I have to take out this Pete. I need an ice block. I'm going to quest Hiram. It's going to take out the Popsicle, draws 2 cards, gets us Be Prepared, which almost is it. And then if we get a Maui on board, maybe we can take this out next turn. We need to be able to do 8 damage to their location next turn. Do we have anything like that? I don't think so. Oh, the Pete has no action, so we can't even play Be Prepared. So we need to ink Vision, and then we can also use our Fishbone here. On a Sisu, surely we don't need 2 Sisus. And then we can finally play our Sisu. It'll get rid of that. We didn't get an ice block. We could have gotten rid of the Pete if we had an ice block. 5-6 doesn't do enough. I think we lost again. I was pretty stoked on this deck. I played a few games before I pressed record, and I was having a great time with the Chicha ramp. And there it is. They win the game. 20 lore. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next video.